The eternal city, a beacon of civilization standing tall amidst the sands of time. Its grandeur is not just in its architecture, but in its ideals. A republic built on principles of democracy, balance of power, and the rule of law. The heartbeat of Rome was its people. From the elite patricians to the common plebeians, every Roman played a part in this grand tapestry. As the historian Livy once wrote, Rome's greatness was not founded on her laws, but her laws on her greatness. Religion, too, played a pivotal role. The gods were ever present, guiding the fate of the city and its inhabitants. But beyond the city walls, the vastness of Roman territories stretched far and wide. From the sun-kissed shores of the Mediterranean to the misty mountains of Gaul. Yet, as Cicero observed, the shifts of fortune test the reliability of friends, and Rome, for all its glory, was not immune to the challenges that lay ahead. The Roman Republic, while a beacon of democracy and balance, was not without its internal struggles. One of the earliest and most defining was the conflict of the orders. The patricians, Rome's aristocratic elite, held both political and religious power. They controlled the Senate and, by extension, the state's decisions. The plebeians, on the other hand, made up the majority of Rome's population. They were artisans, farmers, soldiers, the backbone of the city. Yet they had little say in the matters of the state. Their contributions were undeniable. They tilled the fields, crafted goods, and defended Rome's borders. But when it came to rights and privileges, they found themselves sidelined. Debts, land rights, and legal protections were pressing issues for many plebeians. Without representation, they felt the weight of these challenges even more. Their demands for equality and representation led to a series of secessions where they would leave the city en masse, showcasing their importance and expressing their discontent. These acts of defiance were a clear message to the patricians. Rome could not function without the plebeians. The pressure led to reforms. The establishment of the 12 Tables, Rome's first written law code, was a significant step towards equality. While the conflict of the orders was a long and tumultuous period, it laid the foundation for a more inclusive Roman Republic, where the voice of every citizen, regardless of their status, had a chance to be heard. In the heart of Rome, amidst its grandeur and glory, the seeds of reform were being sown. Two brothers, Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus, would become the champions of the common people. Tiberius, the elder of the two, was deeply moved by the plight of the Roman farmer. Land, once the pride of the Roman citizen, was increasingly concentrated in the hands of a few wealthy elites. Many soldiers returned from wars, dreaming of the lands they were promised, only to find them taken. Tiberius proposed a radical idea: redistribute the land to these disenfranchised Romans. But change is seldom easy. The Senate, dominated by the wealthy elite, saw Tiberius's reforms as a threat. The stage was set for a clash between the old guard and the new. Following Tiberius's tragic end, Gaius took up the mantle. He not only championed land reforms, but also proposed subsidized grain for the poor and new rights for the Italian allies. Gaius's reforms were far-reaching. He envisioned a Rome where every citizen, whether in the heart of the city or in distant lands, felt represented and cared for. But, as with Tiberius, Gaius's journey was fraught with challenges. The very reforms that endeared them to the masses made them enemies among the powerful. The Gracchi brothers, with their dreams of a more equitable Rome, left an indelible mark on Roman history. Their legacy, a testament to the idea that individuals can challenge the status quo and fight for a better tomorrow. The Italian peninsula, home to diverse peoples and cultures. While Rome stood as the heart of this vast territory, it was surrounded by cities and tribes, each with its own identity and aspirations. For years, these Italian allies had stood by Rome, fighting its wars, contributing to its wealth, and sharing in its challenges. Yet they were denied one crucial privilege: Roman citizenship. Citizenship was more than just a title. It was a symbol of inclusion, a promise of rights, and a share in Rome's prosperity. The Italian allies felt sidelined, their contributions overshadowed by Rome's reluctance to grant them full rights. These were the men who bled for Rome, who stood shoulder to shoulder with Roman soldiers on distant battlefields. Their demand was simple: recognition. In the corridors of power, the debate raged on. Some saw the granting of citizenship as a natural progression, while others viewed it as a threat to Roman supremacy. The winds of dissent grew stronger, culminating in what history would remember as the Social War. A conflict not against foreign invaders, but between Rome and its closest allies. The war was brutal and costly. Both sides suffered immense losses, but from the ashes of this conflict, change was born. The end of the war saw the Italian allies achieve their long-sought goal. They were granted Roman citizenship, forever changing the fabric of the Roman state. The Social War, while a dark chapter, paved the way for a more inclusive Roman Republic. It was a testament to the idea that unity, rights, and recognition were worth fighting for. The Roman Republic, while a beacon of governance and law, was also a formidable military power. Its legions, disciplined and relentless, were the envy of the ancient world. For many Romans, the path to fame and fortune was through military success. And as Rome expanded, its generals gained unprecedented power and influence. Enter Gaius Marius, a man of humble origins who would revolutionize the Roman army. His reforms, including the inclusion of the landless poor into the legions, changed the very fabric of the Roman military. But with these reforms came a shift. Soldiers, once loyal to the state, now held deep allegiances to their generals. The bond forged in the heat of battle was unbreakable. Sulla, a contemporary of Marius, was a stark example of this shift. His march on Rome, a bold move by a general against his own city, showcased the growing power and ambition of Rome's military leaders. And then there was Pompey, Rome's teenage general. His victories in the east expanded Rome's territories and filled its coffers. But more importantly, they solidified the idea that military success was a direct path to political power. Generals like Julius Caesar, who conquered Gaul, and others who followed, blurred the lines between military and political realms. Their legions were not just tools of conquest, but also instruments of political influence. The rise of these military leaders was a double-edged sword. While they brought glory and wealth to Rome, they also introduced instability. Their personal ambitions and rivalries would set the stage for some of the Republic's most tumultuous years. Rome, at the height of its power, was not just a city of grand structures and traditions. It was also a hotbed of political intrigue and ambition. In a bid to control this sprawling empire, Three of Rome's most influential men formed an alliance. This was the First Triumvirate, an unofficial but powerful pact. Each member brought something unique to the table. Caesar, with his unmatched leadership, Pompey, with his military prowess, and Crassus, the wealthiest man in Rome, with his vast resources. Together they controlled vast territories and had the loyalty of legions. Their combined influence was unmatched, and they used it to further their personal and collective ambitions. But alliances, especially those built on ambition, are fragile. Each member had his own goals, and as they achieved them, cracks began to appear. Pompey's desire for recognition, Caesar's growing influence after his conquests in Gaul, and Crassus's ill-fated expedition to Parthia added strain to their alliance. The very strengths that brought them together, ambition, power and influence, would also be the seeds of their discord. The First Triumvirate, while a testament to the power of alliances, also showcased the volatility of Roman politics. Its dissolution set the stage for a series of events that would forever change the Roman Republic. Gaul, a land of mystery and might, lay to the north of Rome. Its tribes, fierce and independent, had long resisted the expanding Roman influence. These were the Gauls, a people proud of their heritage and traditions, but change was on the horizon. Julius Caesar, ever the ambitious general, set his sights on Gaul, not just for its riches, but to bolster his political standing in Rome. The conquest was not easy. Each Gallic tribe had its own strengths, and they fiercely defended their lands. But Caesar, with his tactical genius, slowly began to turn the tide. The siege of Alesia was a testament to Roman engineering and strategy. Vercingetorix, the charismatic Gallic leader, was trapped within, and despite a valiant effort, the Gauls faced defeat. With Vercingetorix's surrender, the fate of Gaul was sealed, but the conquest was more than just territorial expansion. Caesar documented his campaigns in the Gallic Wars, not just as a historical record, but as propaganda. His victories in Gaul bolstered his image in Rome, making him a hero in the eyes of many. The conquest of Gaul was a double-edged sword. While it brought immense wealth and glory to Rome, it also set Caesar on a collision course with the Roman Senate and his former allies. The Rubicon, a seemingly insignificant river in northern Italy, yet its name would forever be etched in history as a symbol of irreversible decisions. Back in Rome, tensions were mounting. Caesar's successes in Gaul had made him immensely popular among the masses, but they also made him a threat to the established order. Caesar faced a dilemma. The Senate had ordered him to disband his army and return to Rome, but he knew that doing so without the protection of his legions could mean political ruin, or worse. The Rubicon marked the official border between Gaul and the Roman heartland. Crossing it with an army was tantamount to declaring war on Rome itself. The night was tense, the air thick with anticipation, and then, in a moment that would change the course of history, Caesar made his move. As he approached the river, Caesar is believed to have said, "Alea iacta est," the die is cast. With those words, he led his troops across the Rubicon, sealing his fate and that of the Roman Republic. The crossing of the Rubicon was more than just a military maneuver. It was a declaration, a point of no return. Rome would soon be engulfed in civil war, and the age of emperors was on the horizon. Rome, the heart of an empire, was no stranger to political intrigue. But as the Ides of March approached, the city stood on the precipice of a moment that would shake its very foundations. Julius Caesar, the conqueror of Gaul, the man who crossed the Rubicon, had become the undisputed power in Rome. His recent declaration as dictator perpetuo, dictator in perpetuity, alarmed many. A conspiracy was brewing. A group of senators, calling themselves the Liberators, believed that to save the Republic, Caesar must be eliminated. The theatre of Pompeii, a place of entertainment and art, was chosen for the act. On the Ides of March, as Caesar attended a Senate meeting, destiny awaited. As the proceedings began, the conspirators made their move. One by one they approached, daggers concealed. Brutus, a trusted friend of Caesar, delivered the final blow. With disbelief and betrayal in his eyes, Caesar is said to have uttered, "Et tu, Brute? And you, Brutus?" The assassination, meant to save the Republic, plunged Rome into further chaos. The city, and indeed the entire Roman world, was divided. The death of Caesar, while marking the end of one chapter, was the beginning of another. The Roman Republic was on its last legs, and the age of emperors was dawning. In the wake of Caesar's assassination, Rome was a republic in crisis. Power struggles, political intrigue, and the quest for vengeance dominated the landscape. Enter Octavian, Caesar's grandnephew and adopted son. A young man, but with a claim and ambition that belied his age. To consolidate power and avenge Caesar's death, Octavian formed the Second Triumvirate with Mark Antony and Lepidus. Together they embarked on a campaign of proscriptions, eliminating their political enemies. The Battle of Philippi was a turning point. Brutus and Cassius met their end, and the triumvirs emerged victorious. But alliances born out of convenience rarely last. Mark Antony's affair with Cleopatra and his perceived Eastern leanings alarmed many in Rome. Octavian seized on this, painting Antony as a traitor to Rome. The Battle of Actium was the climax of this rivalry. Octavian's victory was decisive. Antony and Cleopatra, the iconic lovers, met tragic ends, and Octavian stood as the unrivaled power in Rome. With the Republic's institutions weakened, Augustus cleverly positioned himself as the restorer of Rome. While maintaining the facade of the Republic, he held supreme power. The Senate conferred upon him the title Augustus, and thus the Roman Empire was born. Under Augustus, Rome entered the Pax Romana, a period of relative peace and stability. The empire expanded its borders, art and literature flourished, and Rome stood as the beacon of civilization. Thank you for traveling back in time to explore Rome with us. If this adventure captivated you, please like, share, and subscribe for more journeys into history. Until our next voyage, remember, history isn't just about the past, it's the story of us.